This is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Philippi. My guests today are Sharon Morgan and Ted Diesel. They're here to talk about Gallery Theater's upcoming production of Driving Miss Daisey, which is opening Friday, January 15th. So welcome to you both.
Well,
Thank you.
good to be here.
This, I think, probably most people remember the movie, certainly. And is the movie dramatically different from the play, or does it kind of parallel pretty closely?
The dialogue is pretty close to the same. I think the implications of what Yuri was writing about don't come through in the movie quite as well as they do when you see it as a play.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I would agree. I never picked up on many of the things that are really important in the play, and that's why I think it'll be fun for people. It's always tricky, though, when you're doing a play after there have been seminal kind of performances done in a movie, because people expect. They already have an image of what they expect. Like, I feel sorry for every little girl who ever has to play Annie.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has it been for you, kind of immersing yourself in this role?
Well, it sort of changed my way of speaking. She's much snippier than I thought she was going to be.
Really?
She's not a gentle Southern lady.
That's right. She's got a little box that she lives in, and anything that's new is wrong. She's kind of living in a past romance of what her hard life was, but she's very well-to-do now and a widow that can do anything she wants to do, but refuses because the old ways are best ways.
So that's probably a really interesting character for you in particular to play, since you're a really modern woman.
I would say she has maybe a toe or two in modernity, but really she's pretty well planted in her own conception of what she deserves, what she can do, what her family ought to do. And I think what people will find really interesting is the timeliness of some of the issues in terms of her conception of herself as a prejudice-free person, and yet some of the outrageous but
Egregious.
Right.
statements that she makes.
Yes.
And then the dignity of the driver, and just that juxtaposition of a dignified person and a person who aspires to be dignified.
What I remember about this was feeling that the driver, not to say throw up his hands, but just really recognize, she's not going to change. Miss Daisey is not going to change. She's not going to, abandon the old ways. And it's really futile to try to, change her mind. So you have to meet her where she is and try to find the common ground and love her for the person she is, really, or respect her for the person she is. And that she's doing the best she can in her world, with her worldview.
Well, and I think that's one of the pieces there, is that he's an African-American man. Here's a white woman in the South. He's an employee. He will always be an employee to her. That's
Right.
the way she sees his role. But he can roll with her with gentleness and kindness and be with her for 27 years through the term of the play. And there is a point at which we may feel that they become friends, but it's hard to get past, like the movie Help, who the help is
Right.
and who the employer is. And Yuri discusses this because this is the first of 3 Atlanta-based plays based on being Jewish in Atlanta in the South.
Okay.
And even within the Jewish community, there's a certain amount of prejudice that is working here. So Yuri, at the point where he started to write this play, was really trying to feel out what it was to be Jewish, what it was to be Southern or to be a Jew in the South. And so we see Booley, the son, in this conflict between some of the things that his mother doesn't agree with, and still the whole key on family in the Jewish world is very important. And so the triangle here is just very fascinating to watch.
It just makes you realize how we're all, such multi-layered people. You think
Oh,
of
yeah.
yourself as, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a daughter, you're you're Jewish, you're black, you're whatever you're going to
You're
be.
aging.
Yes, exactly. All those things, and
Yeah.
and how that intersects with other people at various points.
Yeah.
It's so
And-
interesting.
So I guess I would say that the play itself, when well done, is probably more interesting than the movie. The movie will always be more beautiful because they didn't have to work so hard on a little stage
Right.
to have something that symbolized the car and an office and a home, and a rather elegant home.
Right.
So they can do that in the movies with just so
Realism.
easy.
Yeah, just
And so,
realism.
but we're blessed because we have a wonderful backstage crew that, gets the car on and off the stage and sets up the house and all of
We
that.
are.
And David Bates, who plays your son, did send me an email and mentioned that he's sorry he couldn't make it today, but wanted to talk about the production team that you have. So do you want to mention that a little?
Well, yeah, I think we have a very excellent team. I think there's a couple of people that this is really their first dive in, and there's others that are very experienced in the leadership back there, because we moved through 25 different scenes, and they move furniture and pieces in and out in just a very few seconds, because the play rolls along. It's like a long one act, the length of maybe the first act of a musical, but it's so concise and so precise that these things have to happen quickly so you keep the idea flowing. And they've done a great job. They're doing great.
That's wonderful to feel like the actual logistics, just the physical piece of it, is working super smoothly.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, that's really what live theater is about for people who are on or behind the stage. It's really that working together and solving problems and triumphing together.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, this is a play with a lot on your shoulders. I mean, there's so few actors. So much of it is you. So this is a big line load for you.
Yes, it has been.
True. All that is true. All that is true. And the balance, the way the three work together is very, very good. They have grown and their characters have developed and have multi-dimensions. It's been fun. It's been a great experience.
And one of the other fun things about doing live theater is having to live with a script and then realize all the subtleties that are in it and all of the music. I mean, Yuri repeats the same word with different characters in different ways, but it's a very precise and intentional use of certain words and certain phrases, and very slight alterations on certain phrases. That is a subtlety. I suppose if the audience came several times, they would begin to pick that up. But for the actors and the production crew, you begin to hear that and realize that. And then the historical events that he puts into this play were actual events. So it was it's a very real play. And I think the emotions and understandings that are portrayed are also very real, and that always makes for the best theater experience.
Sure.
That is true, as you're saying, with live theater. By the time you actually get to your first performance, you've said those lines so many times, they've really sunk in for you. I mean, you've...
Oh, please, God.
No, but I mean, you really have a huge sense of the musicality of the words and just the poetry, maybe, that's in
Right.
that. Like, every word is so symbolic, and no throwaway line kind of thing.
But I think you have to recognize too that it will continue to mature during the run of
Oh,
the
sure,
show
of
because
course.
they'll discover new things. All of a sudden, somebody will say in their head, "Oh, I missed that." So they'll say the line a little differently. Now the receiver kind of hears it a little differently. That takes something. So they're always tricking a little bit more because they get closer and understand it. Yuri's very good, and you're right. It's very like Shakespeare. I mean, it's very precise language that takes place, tells you a lot in a very short time, and it's in production style, it's very much like Our Town, where you strip everything away except the essentials of the characters and what they have to work with.
Well, I'm very excited about this. It's running January 15th to February 6th. We don't have a lot of time, but I know we wanted to talk about your gallery's involvement with the Arts Alliance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, Sharon knows more about it than I do, so.
Well, it's not just the Arts Alliance and all of the artists and arts organizations and cultural organizations in Yamhill County are involved in a national project.
Okay.
Arts, Culture, and Prosperity is the Yamhill County Cultural Coalition's overarching name, but the the alliance that will be participating not only in upgrading the inventory of the cultural assets of Yamhill County, which includes people, places, and events, historical and heritage, as well as arts and culture things. I mean, Alien Days is a cultural event.
Oh, sure,
that
right.
but the exciting and totally new to this part of the country is Americans for the Arts, Arts, Economics, and Prosperity Study 5, which will be a data-driven study of the impact of the arts and culture on the economy of Yamhill County.
Okay. Kind of like Art Works, that tagline when they were talking about
Right.
the economic impact and
But this will be a definitive analysis of what is spent by all the organizations to do their work, what they spend in Yamhill County, salaries, gallery, their paint, do they buy costumes here, what publicity do they pay for, that sort of thing will be part of the survey. And then we'll be doing random exit surveys of audiences throughout the year of 2016.
okay, good.
To find out, and it will all be anonymous, but both local people and visitors, did you spend anything additional to the price of your ticket?
Right. And actually, I think that you are going to come back and talk about this
Yeah.
maybe in a couple more weeks, more in depth, but it's great to know that this is in the works. I love it.
Yeah, this
So,
is our launch. We'll do it on this show.
that's
Yes.
wonderful. That's exciting. So, once again, Driving Miss Daisy, and, I'm so looking forward to the show.
Good.
Thanks
Well,
for
we're
coming
looking
today.
forward
Good.
to having you in the audience.
Cackling away.
We hope.
And maybe a
Yes.
little.
Maybe, I'm sure a tear. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you, Lynda.